Tomorrow is the anniversary of the worst airline disaster in Texas history. 39 years ago, August the 2nd, 1985, a Delta Airlines jumbo jet caught in a thunderstorm and crashed as it was approaching DFW Airport in Dallas. A disaster that led to improvements to the way we fly today. Here's more in tonight's backstory from Bob Buckaloo.
It was a stark reminder of the fury of the weather, the charred tail section of Delta Flight 191, resting in a field just north of the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. The plane crashed short of the runway during a storm in August 1985. The big Lockheed L-1011 jetliner encountered a downward rush of air that caused the pilots to lose control of the plane as it was attempting to land. Rapidly changing wind directions and the pilot's decision to land in bad weather contributed to the disaster. An eyewitness from that day 39 years ago.
I turned back and I saw just like a big explosion right over there, the ball of fire and the mushroom cloud.
The flight had originated in Florida and was to go on to Los Angeles after its brief stopover at DFW. 137 people died in the crash, 28 survived, among them a 12-year-old boy who was flying with his dad. In a 2017 interview, Richard Laver recalled the crash that killed his father.
The only thing I remember to this day is the violence, the impact. My father covered my body. When you survive something as violent as I did, with people dying all around me, you wonder what your purpose is your whole life.
The crash of Delta 191 led to major changes in aviation. Now, special equipment has been added to all commercial aircraft to detect dangerous weather conditions around airports. Improvements that have saved lives since that terrible day in August 1985. Bob Buckaloo, KVUE News.
Bob, thank you for that. Just such a tragic story. You know, the meteorology involved in that, it's not just a thunderstorm, but it's actually something that we call a microburst or a downburst. Now, these are not exclusive to Dallas and North Texas. We've actually had a number of these here locally over the past several years. Here's essentially what happened. So during a thunderstorm, right, we get heavy rain, we get lightning, but what's happening up in the clouds is a strong updraft. So you have all of this strong rising air. Well, sometimes when the storm starts to weaken, that updraft falls apart, and now all of a sudden you have this cold air which is descending down from the storm. Now, this is basically like if you took a garden hose, sprayed it down at the ground. When that cold air hits the ground and collides with the ground, it spreads outward and the wind accelerates. So this can easily generate winds of 60 to even as high as 100 miles per hour as this wind accelerates outward, and that's what that flight was dealing with. Again, this is not something that is incredibly common, but it does happen. When it does, it's very small scale. We're talking 2.5 miles. The radius of these strong winds are even less than that sometimes.